Welcome back to the Cave. We have Cave People.
Cave People.
And we believe we're the fan of the game together.
Stays together. All right.
So welcome back to another video. Today we are doing the unconscious mind review.
Yep. You heard it here. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and talk into it. Okay. So we're going to do the review of Unconscious Mind. And this game just arrived. It was highly anticipated. This is probably our most anticipated 2023 release. However, it did not come out in 2023. It has finally arrived in 2024, and now we're going to talk about it and all of it. And you're going to see how we feel.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is this the game of the year in 2024? Because I think that a lot of people might enjoy this one. All right, so Unconscious Mind. What you're seeing here is a very cluttered end game state in a two-player game. It was a solo game, me versus the AI. I played this we played it with 2 players, we played it solo, we played it with 3. I have not played it with 4. So bear that in mind. I will say that the game, I think, moves quicker with higher player counts than it does with lower player counts. Yeah, I think that pushing the reputation track and things like that at the higher player counts is where it's at. What do you think?
I only played with 2 players.
Okay. Fair enough. So this is, I don't even know how to classify this game. It's like worker placement, Euro style. There's just a whole lot going on here. And go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to see what you're saying.
Yeah, there are a whole lot of different components. So if you're not familiar with the game, brief overview. You are playing the role of one of the B Squad psychoanalysts, basically, working for Freud. And we are trying to come up with ideas, make those ideas come to fruition as far as like cures and treatments of mental illnesses for our clients. Clients are going to show up to you with grief, and then they have a couple dreams that they need you to help sort out. When their meter reaches 0 over here, their mental meter, then they become cured. When it reaches this little star icon, then they reach what's called catharsis, and a bunch of stuff happens. Then you have the village map on which you're going to travel around Vienna, and you have your notebook here in which you're taking notes. This is kind of like your Euro-style engine that you're building here through your idea system, through coming up with ideas. And then you have an office in which you'll have 2 clients that you're trying to sort out. You can treat each one of them once a turn. You have what's called an insight dial over here, and that's your resources that you're collecting. You collect resources by moving your inkpot, taking notes in your notebook here, moving your inkpot around. You can also get resources out of the map through travel, through solving grief, through curing clients, and you're going to drink a whole lot of coffee in this game because coffee is also a resource. Yeah, I don't know. There's just a ton going on. What else you got? Sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
The ideas board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to talk more about it?
Well, basically, you have these things which are idea markers. Do you use a cloth one?
No, I didn't use a cloth one because I don't like the colors as much. I think the colors are dull.
Well, basically, you put this stuff out on this board and gain the resources of whatever's there.
We're going to carry out actions. So there are actions on the ideas board that allow you to do different things, like move around Vienna or grab, take notes in your notebook and build up your engine out here. You have 12 spaces in your notebook that you can fill up. And then from the ideas board, you're going to move your little ink pot around here and then activate either rows or columns in your notebook, which are going to trigger more things, and more stuff is going to happen. This is kind of like a comborific action-taking worker placement idea, similar to, I don't know, like Terraforming Mars or the White Castle, maybe a tiny bit of Ezra and Nehemiah.
Mhm.
So you're basically comboing together the biggest moves that you can make in each turn. The thing I really like about this game is that, thematically speaking, this thing is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I feel like the theme comes through the entire way through the game. Like, you feel like the clients are here and they need your
Mhm.
help, and you're treating them, and you're removing their grief layers, and then you're helping them solve the dreams, and you're playing these cards, you're writing these little articles on the way, and the more articles you write, you can publish treatises, which are bigger publications that earn you more VP. People can borrow from your work. So you're kind of like sitting around the table with all of these psychoanalysts trying to work together to come up with things, but also you're in competition to be the closest to Freud that you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. About theme?
Sure.
Well, the theme is good, obviously. What is the theme saying?
Did you feel the theme of the game? Like,
Yeah, I felt a lot of the theme of the game. This was the only part where I didn't really feel like the theme, because the theme right here is basically you're meeting with people and you feel like you're meeting with people. So that was the only thematic part that I didn't feel about the game.
okay, how do you feel about the dreams and the layers and all
So,
that? Like the grief layers.
oh, the grief layers are curing clients is hard, and since there's only like 2 actions on this board that allow you to like get the resources to cure clients, it is really hard to cure clients.
Yeah, so you have 3 different levels of what's called insight. You have growth, passion, and freedom. And each client's dream requires a certain amount of those resources to cure, to figure out. And then once you figure out the dream, you move the little heart marker down. And then once you get to a certain point, you remove the grief layer, which are little transparent layers that overlay, kind of like Canvas, games like that, which are really neat. And the artwork in this game is fantastic.
Again, there's artwork on the back of the front of the box.
Yeah, so you're spending these resources to do those sorts of things. That's the major action. There are basically 3 actions in the book. You're either going to come up with ideas, put your ideas on the ideas board, grab some tiles for your notebook, or carry out the action. You're going to recall those ideas, which is take them back. And when you take them back, you get to do some things around Vienna, like a resting action, and you get to cure clients. Those are basically the 3 main actions in the entire game. And within those actions, there are a bunch of like sub actions that also happen that can also chain together off of other things. So I think that's where we're coming in, right, with all that.
Yeah.
Within the 3 main types of resources, there are also 3 layers. There's minor, median, and major. And then if you play the Nightmare expansion, there's also mad level of resource, which is like the 4th level. So each dream, the more complicated the dream is, the more complicated the resource it requires to solve. The more screwed up your patient is, the more hearts you're going to have to come up with in order to cure your patients. You can see on there, I think there are seven heart layers on this particular patient.
And they differ throughout the patient.
Yeah, and your dreams vary between granting you 2 to 4 hearts, typically speaking. You do have some modules like the illusion dreams that are auto cures or whatever. And then in the Nightmare Box, the Nightmare Dreams are auto catharsis, so they reach catharsis. The important part about this, the thing I really like about clients, you have two things to do. You take a client, they have grief, you can solve their grief for them, removing this layer of the card, which will then bring them to catharsis. When that happens, they're not cured, meaning they still occupy a spot in your office. However, their ability down at the bottom of the card is active for you to use.
Not the VP, though.
No. Well, they don't score
The
the
VP until they get
right.
the client.
If they have an endgame VP, they do score.
Mhm.
So there are two types of patients. There are your case study patients, which are your more complicated patients that take a little longer. Those are worth endgame VP. So if you want to farm endgame VP, that's the type of patient you would use. So that's the case study.
Those are a little more challenging, though.
Yeah, they're more challenging.
They have, like, I think, looking at the cards, all of them are 3 to 4 hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Plus the grief layer.
And then you have your routine patients, which are a little simpler to cure, but they have like an in-game ability, during-game ability that will be active for you to use. So, for example, every time you rest, you get to do an extra something, or every time you activate something, you get a madness token. Whatever that was from the Nightmare expansion. So that's kind of the base game. The ink pot move, like I said, is the way you fuel your engine or activate your engine. Fuel it through the ideas board. Traveling around Vienna will help you get some other things. It's a reputation earning game in a VP race around the board here. Once Freud's reputation reaches 10, every time you move on a reputation track, Freud moves ahead of you. So he'll always stay ahead of you. It is possible to reach him at the end, but that's highly unlikely, I suppose. So when Freud reaches the end, everyone plays an even number of turns, and then everyone gets one more round, and then the game ends, and that's it. It is a variable time limit, so when you're seeing scores on Board Game Geek where people are like, "What are you scoring in the game?" Well, it really depends. Are you driving reputation or are you not? You're sitting here farming clients and farming VP. Like, are you working towards the end game state? And if you're not, your score is going to be much higher. You're going to keep driving the score higher and higher. So that is something to pay attention to as well.
And you basically choose the amount of time the game goes to.
Yeah, because you can decide what.
Because you could sit there and just cure clients the entire time and never make it anymore.
You can. That is an option for you. So that's the basic gist of the game. There are some really good how to play videos out there. What I recommend doing if you're new to this game is read the book and watch the video at the same time. Adjacent to each other, because it is a tough thing to learn. Once you learn the game, it's pretty easy to teach. I'll say that. The rulebook does a pretty good job of explaining everything. It's just there's just a lot of stuff here. That's
it's
all.
hard.
It's just really involved.
The game is pretty hard to explain in general.
Yeah, I would say this is one of your heavier Euro games of the year for sure. Yeah, okay. So, in the box, there's the base game, and then there's a ton of modular units that come with the game. For example, the Journalist, which I highly recommend playing with the Journalist, especially in lower player counts. There's a Pets module in the expansion. There's a Gramophone module, which I think is completely broken. There's some other bric-a-brac note cards that you can play with. Bunch of modules that can fit in and out of the game. I think most of them are pretty good to include. I would include them if you could. I do believe it's necessary to play the base game one time through before incorporating too much.
Because the game is very tough.
Yeah, and you're going to want to learn how it goes before jumping into the Nightmare expansion right away head first. That's pretty involved. It comes with a whole new dial and all this stuff. So there's a lot here. Component-wise, I think they did a fantastic
job. Yeah. The cards are really thick. But maybe that's just cases. Cards are shiny too. Which he doesn't like. But I like the shiny cards and the shiny stuff.
So I think the holographic stuff was either a stretch goal or I don't remember how it fit into the campaign. But anyway, all the dreams come with holographic versions, and the artwork on these dreams is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, they are very vivid dreams. This is some pretty twisted stuff. If you can think of like Cthulhu-esque style art, but they did a great job with all the components. I mean, dual layer boards. You know, some fiddly bits that are a little bit small, but
The only thing, but I do not like how small this VP track is and how small the board is.
yeah, the Vienna board itself is very tiny. I would agree with you 100%. Also, the play mats, the colors are really dulled out. So the only reason I have the play mat down here is because I like the little extra slots for all where the cards go. You know, gives you a location for the cards. But I play with the cardboard on top of the play mat, so that way you can see the colors. That's the ideas board and the main Vienna board there. The articles are nicely done. Like all of these are custom sleeves that come with the backs that match the cards, just like they did in the big box in Terraforming Mars. Yeah, I mean, component-wise, this is pretty high-quality stuff. The artwork, I think, shines through. The theme of the game is really what wins you over. It definitely, you know, we're used to Euro games where you could have just slapped on any theme to a rules system, right? And it would have worked. Here, I don't think that's the case. This system is only going to work with this theme. So, like, I haven't seen that too many times in a game where it's like, hey, look, all of these components that are all interworking together are only doing that because the theme is driving those things together. So that part is incredible.
I can only think of another game which would be Undaunted.
Okay.
That does that.
Sure, maybe. Yeah, maybe. But again, Undaunted can take on other settings, right?
I mean, the theme is basically the same.
Yeah, war. You're right. Okay. So, yeah, as far as that goes, I mean, this game is kind of a miracle, to be honest. Like, I don't know how they did this. Credit to the designer, the design team here. This is A+ stuff. You know, they got. It's no wonder this game took so long to produce because they got everything right.
Yeah.
I mean, everything right. Everything seems pretty fairly balanced. There's so many things tied together that they had to account for here, and it all works really, really well. So I'm extremely impressed with this game, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, same.
And I just love to play it. You know, like I've been rolling it up and putting it back out, and rolling it up and putting it back out. I'm like,
and the box came, and I was like, oh my god, this is huge. Like, the box was so big. Wasn't it? Like,
yeah, no, it was.
How many boxes were in the box?
I think there were 3 boxes in the box. But
Oh.
we got them all.
Well, it was a big box.
Another good thing is all of that stuff fits down into one box right there.
So all the expansions, all the deluxe components and stuff fit in the main.
Yeah.
The main box.
Which again, well done on that front. I just don't know if there's any negative side to this game other than sometimes there's fiddly components that are a bit small. But you know, as far as the game goes,
I mean, I guess they did try to make it a little smaller because it does take up a lot of table space. So I guess they tried to make it smaller. I mean, if they made it, if they make this board the size of a regular board, it'd be pretty big.
That's true. You do need a lot of room for other things. I mean, this is just a 2-player setup. And it's already taking up most of what is an 8x4 table here. So, yeah, there's a lot to this game. So, but man, oh man, I'll tell you what, this one is special, in my opinion. This is a special game. This is one of those games where you get it, you play it, and you're like, wow, I don't know, this is pretty good. But, you know. And I was reading the rule book, and you know, it's one of those games where like you're reading through the rule book, and I got really excited to play it while reading the rules. And I'm like, oh, this game's gonna be good, you know.
I do that a lot when he teaches me like some games. I got really excited for Expeditions. That's another game that I really like.
Yeah.
You were reading the rules off me, or you were like telling me the game, and I was like, just ready to play.
Yeah. So This one needs to be on your radar. If you can get a hold of a copy of this, there's some people selling their copies on BGG. I would do it. I would highly recommend this. I think this is definitely going to be in the top 10 of the year.
I think it's going to be definitely in the top 3.
It's right now. It's number 3 on BGG. So
the hotness or just
on the hotness. I don't know. I think it's going to, it might stay there. I thought it would shoot right up to number 1 when it first came out, but it's. I think it's going to get there. I think it's going to stay in the top 10 in the hotness for a while.
I think for me right now, I think it'd be number 2 of 2024. Maybe number 3.
Okay, so we have somebody actually in chat saying, as for the game, pretty solid, but the city board felt a bit underdeveloped. Yes, I agree with that, actually. I think that's what Lewis was trying to say there, is like the city board feels.
It's just small and compact, and there's so much going on in the city board.
Also, maybe by underdeveloped too, I think it's the component that you have the least interaction with. If I'm being fair about that too. Like, you definitely hit the ideas board quite a bit. You definitely move your ink pot around and interact here. Your office, you're interacting with as much as you possibly can. The city board is the one thing that I would feel like there's not a whole lot of interaction there throughout the game.
Well, you do track your VP on it.
I mean, I'm talking about like the spaces though, right?
Okay, yeah.
Like interacting with the actual space, moving the character, taking the action. So yeah, in that way, it does feel a bit underdeveloped. So I would agree. I would agree 100% with that. I do think though, the journalist helps. I would say the journalist module is in the base game, and so yeah, I would say that the journalist helps with that because it improves that interaction. It also increases the number of tags that you have because it takes into account all the treatises that are published. So, is it in the top 3 of the year right now?
I just said it was number 2 for me.
I think it's got to be in there. I think it's got to be in there. It's got to be really close. I mean, it's really good. It's really, really good. Top 3 for the year for sure. I don't know where it'll end up all time, but yeah.
I don't know if it'll end up in the top 10 of all time. Maybe not like top 8. But it'll definitely end up in the top 3 of 2024.
This is another game too that I can see like the more I play it, the more I'm going to enjoy it, the more I'm going to want it. So
well, the more you're gonna, because each game you're gonna think of something else, like, oh shoot, I should have done that, or something like that.
Yeah, it really is about efficacy of movement and optimization of your turn. Having said that, though, another good thing we haven't talked about, I don't think this game is subject to much analysis paralysis. Like, I think you pretty much know what you want to do on your turn. And the best way to play the game is carry out that action and then see what else happens, right? So there's a bunch of like snowballing effects that will take place, but the best way to do it is just like, okay, well, let's take this and see what happens next. Because, I don't know, it's fun that way.
Yeah, that's how I did it.
And you did quite well.
It was, I broke 120 the first time I played. So
again, the scores, though, I don't think...
I mean, you win, I feel like. It's not like... Because basically the players decide how long the game goes, really.
I mean, people are posting on the forums, like, 280 something for a score. 280, really? Like, what are you guys doing in the game? Is no one driving the in-game state? I don't know. To build a score that high, maybe I'm missing something, but that seems awfully high. We're topping out around 190, which I thought should be pretty high too. I just played a game against the AI called id, and I won the game with 138 points. So
37.
137. But again, the id is really driving the in-game state quickly, and I kind of did that too. I claimed 5 locations, so 5 location bonuses, which is quite a bit of rep movement. So yeah, I don't know. I like this game. It's great. Play it. It's worth it. 2 thumbs up to the publisher and the designers here. They finally released it, which I'm happy about. I thought this is one that would never come. I was hoping it wasn't vaporware. It wasn't, and now it's here and we're happy. So I hope you like it. What else you got to say? Any closing remarks?
Great game. Great art too. Really liked the art.
Was there anything you didn't like about them?
The
Other than
tidiness,
what? Okay.
the tidiness of the boards. It does take a little longer, which is fine, but I mean, takes a little longer.
Yeah, it's not a short one, and it can be brutal. So this isn't one that I would play with, maybe your beer and pretzel group, because they're going to play it one time and maybe not like it. But this is something that needs multiple playthroughs with the same group to get in the flow. So we will talk more about this in December when we get to our top 10 video. I'm sure this one's coming around. It's coming around for me. I'm just going to tell you right now, it's going to land somewhere in the top 10. And right now it's quite high in the top 10. So yeah. All right, future content. We just got Tiny Laser Heist, which is like a fun game, dexterity game with also a little bit of strategy. We'll be doing a review on that. We're still playing through Ziggurat. Once we're done, we'll get a review. I think that's going to be a really good one. What else do we have coming up here?
We still didn't do the Pagan Fate of Rome.
Yeah, that's right. Pagan. There's new stuff out for Pagan too.
Oh, maybe we should do that. Apiary.
Okay,
Expansion.
and Moon Rollers. We have Moon Rollers to do.
Well, I don't think we need to do review.
You don't think so?
I mean, it's kind of like a party type game. So
Simpler version.
yeah, but I think that'll be on the top 10 for 2024 too.
You think so? There's a lot of good games in 2024.
It's a fun week. We got a lot of games in 2024.
Well, now that soccer season's over, we have more time to play, which means we have more time to make videos and have fun doing this stuff. So look for us here in the future. I know we haven't, we've been a couple of weeks here and there between videos.
What was the last video you posted?
2 weeks ago.
What was it?
Was it Teotihuacan or?
No, it's Callisto.
Callisto review, that's right. Yeah. So if you haven't checked out Callisto review, please watch that.
It is the one you need to see.
Yeah, and anything else that you might be interested in that we've reviewed or.
We reviewed a lot of games in 24.
And you know what? I think we're going to go back and revisit Rise and Falls.
I think we need to.
I think
after
that's coming
playing
because
it with 4 players twice.
There's a lot to talk about with Rise and Fall. Not to get into too much of another game, but there's a lot to talk about there. Okay, well, Unconscious Mind. This is our review. This is our initial thoughts after a good number of playthroughs, handful or so. And yeah, this will be hitting our table, and we'll try to put a live video up too soon. Live playthrough. So this weekend, I think this will get on the table. Anything else?
Also, we gotta play Rally.
Okay, well, yeah. We have a lot of games to play.
Yep.
All right, well, we're gonna play catch up.
That's all for us.
Thank you. We appreciate you being here. Again, just upfront honest stuff here. We're not paid professionals to do any of this stuff. We're just doing it because we like the hobby and we want to get more people into the hobby. And if you like gaming with your kids, this is a good way to spend some quality time together. So, all right. Appreciate you guys as always. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and we'll see you down the road.